as the 2023 Lakers continue to get the most coverage, more so than the commanding first place Denver Nuggets and every other contender combined. Incredible hype for any 13 seed we can remember. The play-in might be their only chance to get the team to the postseason, which many media outlets praise to happen. But the other teams ahead of them also have playoff aspirations. How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Many teams in past years have gotten off to poor starts, raising concerns and nervousness, only to turn it up the final 41 games. The star players leading their squad to the playoffs. A good example would be the 2013 Lakers, 17-25 through 42 games, 128-12 rest of the way thanks to the magnificent Kobe. But after a horrific injury, LA had no chance getting out the first round. This video will take a look at not only the teams who were below 500 at the halfway point, but actually advanced past the first round in the playoffs, some of whom even reaching the unthinkable. Starting with the 2005 Pacers, 20-21 through 41 games to finish 44-38, the 6th seed, the biggest what-if scenario, the most dramatic event taking place, Malice in the Palace, ruined everything for that team. From a fierce rivalry with the tough, physical-minded Detroit Pistons, added sharpshooter and hard-nosed Steven Jackson. Team was 7-2 before the crazy brawl, leaving 24.6 points All-Star and reigning Defensive Player of the Year. Ron Artest suspended the whole season, plus playoffs. Steven Jackson got 30 games, Jermaine O'Neal 25, later reduced to 15. Team went on a 7-game losing streak shortly after, 20-21 halfway through the year. Having to deal with the non-stop backlash psychologically took a toll on those Pacers. Scrutinized like never before, some players in today's game wouldn't have been able to play through such a situation. 20-24 after a 6-game losing streak from January 22nd to February 2nd, the most hated team in the league. Indy supposed to fall apart altogether. Reggie Miller's final season, but the heart of prime Jermaine O'Neal deserves more flowers than given credit for. Had a 29-game stretch of averaging over 26 points, 9 rebounds, over 2 blocks, imposed his will offensively, even had a career best 55 points January 4th. Being the pro that he is, subbed out the game a minute 43 left, needed 3 more points to own the Pacers single game record, but wanted to give Reggie Miller his flowers, knowing he was Mr. Pacer basketball. Knocked off the 3-seeded Celtics in 7 games, a 27-point Game 7 blowout on the road, having a top 5 power forward in Jermaine, one of the best 3-point shooters in Reggie, terrific D&D specialist in Jackson, viewing as having no chance against the defending champs, went up 2-1 in the semis thanks to the clutchness of the 39-year-old, but down 3-2, had a 7-point lead halftime of Game 6, Reggie's final game, 27 points, 11 of 16 shooting, could have honestly stuck around a few more years. Thursday night on ABC, one of the most emotional send-offs in all of sports, fans tearing up, still taking the defending champs to 6 games without the best two-way player in the league. Indiana actually overachieved after the Malice. The 2013-14 Wizards, from 20-21 to 44 wins, franchise star point guard John Wall entering year 4, the rebuild and losing seasons couldn't be tolerated. Team lacked depth outside of Wall and Beal, Trevor Ariza, Marcin Gortat, and Nene, other role guys. Wall, the first-time All-Star, ended up locking down the 4-seeded Bulls round 1, held them to 90 points average. Shockingly took a commanding 2-0 lead, closed it out in 5, even allowing only 69 points the final game of the series against a banged up Joakim Noah who had nothing left after being an MVP candidate, had knee problems, never the same after. Team also took the first game versus the number 1 seed Pacers, fell in 6, no shame in that, had all the upside in the world the following years, but the Wall and Beal era sadly never got past the second round. The 2016 Portland Trail Blazers team was supposed to be in the lottery after the loss of all-star power forward LaMarcus Aldridge, destroyed by Memphis round 1 the year before. Starting 3 Nick Batum signed a massive deal with Charlotte, starting center Robin Lopez took his talents to New York, and starting shooting guard Wesley Matthews signed with the Mavs. 4 starters gone. The team was supposed to be terrible as a bottom 5 squad, and things were looking that way. Started the season 11-20, not viewed as any threat in the West, 17-24 the halfway mark. Lillard, so disrespected, didn't even make the All-Star team. While averaging 25, finished the season 25-12, a 44-win team. The 5th seed versus the 53-win Clippers, thanks to the improved player of the year CJ McCollum, the true second option, 3-and-D Al-Farouq Aminu, Alan Crabb before his disastrous contract, Mason Plumlee, and Maurice Harkless. Portland supposed to get destroyed by the Clippers, losing a combined 41 points the first 2, only for Paul and Griffin to both get hurt, Paul breaking his hand game 4, Blake a quad injury, those Clips were supposed to be competing with the Golden States and San Antonios of the world. Portland then pulled off 4 straight wins, advanced to round 2, down 2-1 before Curry came back game 4, torched the Blazers with 17 of his 40 in OT, only to lose by 4 in game 5 despite the loss in round 2. Consider a great season, testing the 73-win squad to the brakes, lots of optimism, something nobody could have predicted when the season started. The 2018 Jazz, after the departure of Gordon Hayward, team was supposed to go backwards from 51 wins and a trip to the semis. Drafted 13th pick Donovan Mitchell, nobody thought the future multiple-time All-Star would have such an immediate impact. Average over 20 a game, Gobert despite missing 26 games, still won DPOY, traded for Ricky Rubio, had primed Derek Favors, and landed Jay Crowder from the Cavs, finished out the season 29-6. Only the Houston Rockets had a better record that stretch. The defense of Rudy made a powerful impact, allowed 97.7 points per 100 possessions with him on the floor. Without him, rose to 105 points. Utah 37-19 with their center in the lineup led his Jazz to the best defensive team the second half of the year. Despite all the backlash Gobert's gotten years later, his regular season impact for Utah severely underappreciated, allowing rookie sensation Donovan Mitchell to put up 28.5 points. His first playoff series eliminated former MVP Russ Westbrook, superstar Paul George, and big name Melo. An upset when Rudy got in foul trouble game 5. OKC stormed right back attacking the paint, blew a 25-point lead while up 3-1. But game 6 at home, Donovan took matters to his own hands with 38. Gobert didn't bite on the Paul George fake final seconds. An improbable 4-2 series win fell to the 65-win Rockets in 5. Mitchell had to leave game 5 with foot soreness. A season exceeded heavy expectations. The Donovan-Rudy era, however, never got past the second round, broke up 4 years later. 2007 Golden State Warriors, from 19-22 overall to 42 wins, team had to fight past the Clippers and Hornets to get the final playoff spot. Dropped to 26-35 March 4th with a loss to Washington. Their season seemed to slip away, won 16 of their last 21 games. A win over the Pistons gave them hope. Everybody felt the momentum and energy, the crowd electric. Franchise made the playoffs for the first time in 13 years, led by visionary offensive-minded head coach Don Nelson. Went up against the 67-win powerhouse Mavericks, led by the MVP Nowitzki. Had it been any other 8 seed, likely would have gotten swept by the Mavs. Because of matchups, Dallas would have likely beaten any other team not named the Warriors. Head coach Don Nelson coached Dirk for 6 years, knew all his flaws, put smaller guys on him, disrupted the offense, drew up his rhythm, absolutely torched Dallas in Game 6 by 25. The start of a new revolution of small ball excelling in the playoffs. Barron, Monte Ellis, Jay Richardson, Steven Jackson, Matt Barnes, and Al Harrington, arguably the biggest upset in NBA history.
The greatest upset in the history of the NBA playoffs.
Fell to the bigger Jazz in the semis. Golden State wouldn't make it back to the playoffs till 2013, but upsetting Dallas in round 1, forever immortalized in NBA history, honestly felt like a championship, an incredible time. You had to be following the NBA at that present moment to truly understand how special the We Believe team was. 2011 Memphis Grizzlies, from 19-22 to 46 wins, getting the 8th seed, heavily upsetting number 1 San Antonio. Although this upset doesn't draw as much attention as Golden State's, Memphis matched up well. Ginobili, a hand injury, missed the game. Duncan getting banged up by the physicality of Gasol and Zebo. Conley and new addition Tony Allen, defensive stoppers. Despite 20-point score, Rudy Gay out for the playoffs. San Antonio's big 3 getting older. Many believed their dynasty was over. A transition year from defensive-minded to happy offense. While Memphis' low physical style, similar to the 80s and 90s, many accused Memphis losing the final 2 games of the season to tank for the matchup versus the Spurs. After Randolph dominated, team nearly got to the conference finals, had a 2-1 lead on young OKC before the classic triple OT game happened in game 4. The beginning of the grit and grind era, proving they can compete with anybody at the top. The 2004 Miami Heat, 5th overall pick Dwayne Wade's rookie year, one of the most underrated first-year players, got no coverage or media attention. Miami, a struggling team swept under the rug, started 16-25 to start the year, wasn't even supposed to make the playoffs as the debates between the sensation LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony kept the rookie discussions more than busy. Wade was the one who showed the most maturity. Finished out the season 26-15. The 22-year-old became Miami's closer down the stretch, flashes of superstar material, insane athleticism, attacked the rim with reckless abandon. The rising star made sure it was the last time he was ever overlooked. The sensational rookie became a winner from the start, drained the go-ahead game-winning jumper on Baron Davis, his first ever playoff game, beat the Hornets in 7 games, gave the 61-win Pacers a run for their money, dunked in the face of prime Jermaine O'Neal, averaged 21 a game that series, winning 2 of the 6 games. By season's end, many recognize Wade's name needs to be included in the LeBron-Melo conversation. By the second half of that season, Wade played like a true all-star. His stellar performance even caught the eyes of promising Shaq O'Neal, knowing where he wanted to go. Had Wade not performed like this as a rookie, the diesel to Miami likely never happens. 2003 Lakers, coming off a three-peat and still heavy contenders, every team wanted to beat them. The most dominant player in the game, elected to get toe surgery right before the start of the season, showed up to camp out of shape. The whole surgery on company time infuriated Kobe. Starting the year without the most dominant force, missed the first dozen games, had a weak bench. Lakers started an awful 11-19 overall, 19-22 the halfway mark due to the talent in the West. The margin of error slim to none. LA had to work and treat every game like it was must win. 131-10 second half of the season. Kobe had a stretch of 9 straight 40-point games. Third option Derek Fisher averaged just 10 points. Got the 5th seed, didn't get home court, knocked off Garnett's Wolves in 6. No Rick Fox for the second round with injury. Robert Horry, an absolute travesty from 3 the whole playoffs. A whooping 2 of 38 from downtown. 0 of 20 in the Spurs series, including a potential Game 5 dagger in and out. After down 25, had a chance to win it. Slava Medvedenko, the most reliable bench player. The whole team basically ran out of legs from having to go all out, making up for their poor start. Fatigue simply set in, wore down most of the role players. Horry later joined San Antonio. Kobe and Shaq went another year together. If it wasn't for O'Neal getting surgery so late, LA would have had a way better chance in winning. The 2021 Atlanta Hawks, from 16-20 overall to 25-11, finished tied with New York. A record 41-31, made the conference finals. Team fired coach Lloyd Pierce 34 games into the year, lacking chemistry. John Collins and trade talks. Winning started to happen under Nate McMillan. Trae Young made better decisions. Even tied for the third best record from March 1st onwards, destroyed New York in 5 games, heavily upsetted the favored 1 seed Sixers, down 26 Game 5. Many expected Atlanta to lose to the better team, only for Ben Simmons to shit the bed. All of a sudden up 3-2 to Trae Young missing 18 shots in Game 7. The excellent Kevin Huerter rose to the occasion, combined with the choking of Simmons, allowed the improbable upset, even took the eventual champion Bucks to 6. Trae sprained his ankle Game 3, missed the next 2. Giannis hurt his knee the following game, but Lopez and Middleton too much for Atlanta. An unexpected deep run, Trae got all his flowers and even debated heavily against the lack of playoff success Luka at the time. The ATL hasn't been the same since. The 2022 Celtics, 18-21 after a New York game winner, under 500 through the first 41 games, being the 11th seed January 7, surged all the way to the 1 seed before settling for 2 after an intense honest assessments, players meeting. The whole culture and attitude changed. Good habits and holding everybody accountable. Ime Udoka made defense the main identity. Tatum heavily improved on that end too. Every player simply brought in. Tatum and Brown Dry playing together as the go-tos. Boston finished 31-10. Smart inserted the full-time point, winning Defensive Player of the Year. While it appeared other teams seemed to be ducking the Nets, Boston had no problem taking on that heavy offensive talented squad, only to sweep them in an all-out effort. Tatum getting the best of the reign, followed by knocking off the defending champs in 7, survived the grueling 7 games against the tough Jimmy Butler. Only a couple mistakes in the finals cost them, allowing Steph Curry to torch them all series. Tatum getting locked down by Wiggins. Boston trying to play into Golden State's hands by taking bad shots. The 4th game, Dub's way better execution. Draymond got into Jalen's head a little bit. Even with Curry struggles Game 5, Golden State still won that by 10, followed by having a 21-0 run in Game 6. Tatum 6 of 18 the final game, wasn't ready. A banged up shoulder, looked worn out. Whole bench just 5 points The last game of the season, nowhere to be found, the exact opposite of the Bucks series, but the duo of JT and JB, huge opportunities to redeem themselves the coming years. Of course, I didn't include teams who lost in the first round after amazing second half turnarounds, like the 2013 Lakers falling to the Spurs. The 05 Nuggets started 17-24, won 49 games, falling to the Spurs as well, while the 2008 Rockets, just above 500, drew 41 games, a crazy 22-game win streak, finished with 55 wins but a first-round exit, while the 2017 Heat, despite no playoffs, went from 11-30 to 30-11 overall. The role players all got their Benjamins after and never to be heard from again. While the 2018 Sixers, just a game above 500, drew 41 games, won 52. The 2022 Mavs, 22-19, a few games above 500, made it all the way to the conference finals. Thanks so much for watching this video. Which one of these teams' dramatic turnaround surprised you most? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe for more content. Love y'all. See you next time.